Security in anything we do is very important. That is why in this video we'll be showing us how to quickly secure our Microsoft Excel workbook and our Excel worksheet. Hello, welcome to Excel Made Easy. So you'll notice that it's very important for you to secure your worksheet, especially if you are sharing that particular worksheet, or if you don't want anybody to have access to some particular sections of your worksheet. How can you secure your worksheet, you might ask? The very first thing that you can do, or the easiest thing to do, is go to the review menu tab and you see protect sheet or protect workbook. Is that right? So when you click on protect sheet, it will bring up this dialog box for you and to tell you what, protect worksheets and contents of locked cell. And you can decide to protect this worksheet with a what? A password. Is that right? Then you can decide to tick or untick the things that you allow the users to do in this particular worksheet. All right. So let us see what we can do. You can decide to allow users to select locked cell. You can decide to allow users to select unlocked cells, right? So for these other ones that are not ticked, that means users cannot actually do anything on them. So remember, if you are protecting your worksheet with a password, then you must remember that password at any time. So there are different ways of arriving at this protect worksheet, either through the review menu tab, or you right click on the worksheet and you see what? Protect sheet, and to still bring up this menu for you. How about that? So if you want to protect this worksheet, you just go ahead to add a password. Let's say something that I can remember. Let's say game boy. All right. So supposing I just use this password and I click on protect worksheet and contents of locked cells, then I hit what? Okay. So I can make it in such a way that users cannot insert columns or insert rows. All right. So allow all users of this worksheet to, okay. All right, let me untick this. So the ones that are unticked are the ones that they cannot do. So select locked cells. So let me just untick all this, then hit OK. So I'll be asked to confirm the password. So I'm just going to input game boy. All right, so make sure you remember the password and you are good to go. So you notice that I'm clicking on this worksheet, but nothing seems to be happening. Is that okay? I can't even select the column. All right, so I can scroll down, but I can't even select any of the rows. Is that not super crazy? So this worksheet is protected, and you notice that what? You cannot do anything on this. Is that all right? But you can actually move the worksheet around. Is that okay? But you cannot do anything on it. All right. So that is how easy it is to protect this worksheet. Now, supposing you now eventually share this file with some other person and they are asked to unprotect this worksheet. So when they click on protect sheet, it will request for a password. Is that right? So the password to unprotect this worksheet is the password you just used to protect it, which in this case is what? Game boy. All right. So game boy. And once you've entered it, you hit OK. So make sure you are very careful when working with password, because it can determine whether you've lost your whole database or you still have it intact. So because I've unprotected this worksheet, I can now go ahead to select the content within, and I can now go ahead to do a whole lot of things with it. Is that right? Excel security. Another thing that we can do as far as securing our Excel database is to protect the entire workbook. In protecting the entire workbook, that means you are protecting several worksheets. Now, when you click on protect workbook, it will ask you to provide a password that you want to protect the workbook. Is that right? Now, the password is optional, but I'll let us still use our password, game boy. All right. Now, in protecting the workbook, you're actually protecting the structure of that workbook. By structure, that means you cannot be able to move your worksheet around. Is that right? So you hit OK and you'll be asked to confirm. So game boy. All right. So hit OK. And the workbook is protected. So you can still select your columns, but one thing you cannot do is to change the way your worksheet is now. All right, so you cannot move your worksheet around just like it was before. So in protecting your workbook, you are trying to protect the structure of your workbook. Hope that helps. Another way of assessing your Excel security protection is to go to your file menu, and you should be able to see what protect workbook. Is that right? So Excel security protect, and it says what protect workbook. The structure of the workbook has been locked to prevent unwanted changes, such as moving, deleting, or adding worksheets. Does that make sense? So even if I right click here and I want to delete this worksheet, I cannot do that because the workbook has been protected. Hope you are getting value from this video. Remember, we started with what? How to protect the worksheet. Then we're eventually seeing how we can protect the workbook itself. And in protecting the workbook, you notice that you cannot delete the worksheets within the workbook. I cannot move the worksheets around if you have several worksheets. I cannot even add new sheets. Does that help? So in protecting the workbook, you are protecting, or you are trying to prevent unwanted changes to the structure of your workbook. Is that right? Now, when you click this drop down arrow, there are a whole lot of things you can also do. But before we go ahead, let us go ahead and unprotect this workbook. So let us just click this protect workbook, and it says what unprotect workbook. So let us type in our formula. Is all right. So this, sorry, let us type in our password. So this password is not in any way related to anything. So I just came up with it just for educational purposes. So this workbook is now unprotected. So we can now move our worksheets around, and we can add new worksheets. So if you don't know how to do this before now, so today is your lucky day. Now, one other thing that we can do, so coming here, you notice that what? You can click this drop down arrow, and it says what? Mark as final. What this mark as final does is actually to let readers know the workbook is final and to make it read only. So when you mark your Excel document as final and you are sharing it to some other people, it just kind of brings up a prompt to whoever is reading it. This workbook will be marked as final and then saved to whoever is reading it, that the workbook is already finalized, so no more changes will be allowed. So it says, oh, this document has been marked as final to indicate that editing is complete and that this is the final version of the document. When a document is marked as final, the status property is set to final, and typing, editing commands, and proofreading marks are turned off. So you can recognize that a document is marked as final when the mark as final icon displays in the status bar. So don't show this message again. I think it will be more better if it is shown again. Look at this, marked as final. So an author has marked this workbook as final to discourage editing. So you can go ahead to this edit anyway, but this is an information for you. So clicking this drop down arrow brings up more of this. So encrypt with password, require a password to open this workbook. So encrypting with password, that means you are encrypting this entire workbook with a password. This is different from protecting the workbook. Is that right? So what this means is before you can open this workbook, you have to enter a password. That means people cannot even have access to open the workbook entirely, in its entirety. Are you seeing the different levels of security that you can implement on your Microsoft Excel file? Is okay? So you can encrypt the whole document, and you can do so with a password. Now there's a caution here. It says what? If you lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. It is advisable to keep a list of passwords and their corresponding document names in a safe place. So if you're a HR professional, if you are a secretary or a desk officer or a PA, these skills are what you must know, because eventually you might need to upgrade the security of your document, and encryption is one of it. Now, going down, you also notice that you can protect current sheets, just like we've seen. You can protect the workbook structure, just like we've seen. You can restrict access, supposing you are on a shared server. You can add a digital signature. So which of this method is most convenient for you to use, or which of them are you already using? You can drop it in the comment section below. Also, go ahead to smash the subscribe button to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is your own way of supporting us. Go ahead to watch the video on your screen that shows you important HR Microsoft Excel functions that you need to know. Excel made easy.